feeling of the group of people that are interested in it is, I don't know, it just it's warm and people are willing to help each other, and it's all good. It takes away a certain competitive edge from like triathlon that just becomes overwhelming, and this is more inviting.
Welcome to the Low Tide Boys, a Swimrun podcast. I'm Chip.
And I'm Chris, and this is episode 128 of the show. We have a great show for everyone this week. Joining us in Studio G are Liza Dunham and Mike Schiepke, a.k.a. Team Cali-Coed. We first met Liza and Mike in Catalina 2020 back in the day and just kept seeing them at the races. So we've been wanting to have a sit down with them for a while, and we're super stoked to share a conversation with them. It was fantastic.
Yes, every race they were there.
Yeah.
Hi, nice to see you again. Hi, nice to see you
guys?
again. Deja vu, Groundhog Day. Hello again.
And they're awesome. They're what makes Swimrun fantastic,
yes.
And you'll hear why. But first, Chipper,
we have our training update. So in just a mere 5 weeks away is Ödyssey Swimrun Casco Bay. Really excited to get out to Portland, Maine for that one again on July 17th. We have some robust swimrun practices coming up in the next few weekends, as we're going to start to fine-tune our training and work on some transitions, swimming as straight as possible, and fueling as much as possible, etc., and more.
Yeah.
Excited. Got a 3-hour swimrun, 3+ hour swimrun
3.5 hour
on this. It's been increased.
I guess I got to look at it again. I thought it was 3.5 hours. But yeah, okay. Anyway, 3 hours
3 hour plus on that one. So looking forward to that. And don't forget as well, quick plug for Ödyssey Swimruns. If you haven't signed up for that, use the code LOWTIDEBOYS to save 15% off. In addition, we just dropped a bonus episode, the course preview for the long course for Casco Bay. So check that out. And if you're doing the short course, we got you covered too. Look for the episode Couch to Casco. And we have race previews, training guides, all sorts of things like that for you to join us in Casco Bay. And post-race happy hour will be coming, details forthcoming. Now, on to this week's shoutouts.
Yeah, so this week we're shouting out our newest patron on Patreon, Lisa Decker. Lisa has been a supporter of us since the beginning. I mean, since we launched the meme account back in the day, I felt like she was popping up and thanking us and encouraging us. So we're super stoked to finally get her, meet her in person at Swimrun Austin last year. And she even had a Low Tide Boys bumper sticker on her car, which I thought was pretty cool. We took a photo in front of it and stuff.
That was pretty funny.
So Lisa, you're awesome. Thank you so much for the support. It really helps keep the lights on and all that. So kudos.
Thank you, Lisa. Now for this week's Feats of Endurance. So we haven't done the Feats of Endurance segment in a few weeks, but there are several worthy winners that we wanted to highlight in no particular order. A tip of the hat to Justin Young, a fellow Bay Area swim runner. He's training for the new Folsom Swimrun, which, newsflash, the Low Tide Boys are also participating in that one.
I mean, there's a swim run within 100 miles.
100-mile drive.
We're going to go.
So we're there. So see you in Folsom, Justin. And anybody else, check out the Folsom Swimrun there in Northern California. Justin May did the swim run in Bellingham. So congrats on that, Justin. And then Scott Suurmeyer, he did a 106-mile Unbound gravel race in Kansas.
Yeah.
Nice job, Scott.
It's a long time to be on gravel.
That's a long time of just,
long time for anything.
Long time. It's a long time. Anyway, way to go, Scott, Justin, and Justin. Keep up the good work. Make sure to head over to Strava, search Low Tide Boys, and join the over 400 members in our Strava club to check out what everyone's doing. Give and receive kudos, compliments, and I don't know, maybe even there's some critiques around there. Who knows? But join the fun and join the community there. Now, I'm very excited for this week in Swimrun. Over to the news desk, Chris.
Did you play the show music yet?
Well, hit the show music. Over to the news desk, Chris.
All right, welcome to the news desk. Since our last This Week in Swimrun, there's been a bunch of awesome races and even better stories. Our favorite story, though, is the return of the super team of Fanny Kuhn and Desiree Anderson at Attila Isles of Scilly. True to form, they crushed the female division and finished third overall. So they won the female division and finished third overall. Nice. So it was awesome. I mean, when I saw those photos, I was so stoked. Fanny's been dealing with injuries. She moved out of Europe into Florida and stuff like that. So, a lot going on there. So it's great to see her back doing swim runs and to reconnect with their old, world championship buddy.
Reign of dominance.
They won 2 world championships in the women's division. So, yeah, so it's so great to see her back out there. So that was awesome. One of our favorite events, EX Swimrun's Arc Super Sprint, took place this past weekend, and it was an epic day. Desiree, she gets mentioned a lot in this show, repeated as the women's champion, and Hugo Tormento, a.k.a. the 2022 Male Swimrunner of the Year, worthy award to be given today, was the men's champion. We plan on having EX race director Nicholas Roman back on the show to talk about this year's race because there was a lot more going on. They really evolved it from last year, so really excited to share that conversation coming up. But looking forward, there are a couple of really cool events coming up this weekend that we wanted to highlight. Over in the UK, it's Keena's Mustard's Nene Park Swimrun Festival is taking place this weekend, and we can't wait to see all the photos. We love this race series and highly recommend that folks check out our interview with Nikki and Chelsea Bailey, the mother and daughter racing directing duo of Eskina's Mustard. So you want to know how they came up with a name like that and what they're up to and helping grow the sport in the UK? That's a good place to go. Also in the UK, the folks at We Swimrun are hosting their Tal y Clun, I probably butchered that, swim run this Sunday. It's a solo sprint course of 10 kilometers in the Snowdonia National Park in Wales. So that's like a pretty cool place to have a race. This race is ideal for first-timers, and it's a great place to meet potentially a future race partner.
The UK swimrun season is popping off.
It's popping. It's definitely something's going on, and it's popping. And we saw a post, Chipper, you told me about this, that on Facebook. Race directors in the UK, you guys need to get on some sort of you guys need to get on a text thread or something so that you don't have all your races happening on the same weekend.
Fire up a group chat or something.
Group chat would be great. We can facilitate that if needed. We're all about having more races and more people participating, and they can't be in 2 places at once. Anyway, skipping over to France, the 7th edition of the Swimrun Côte Vermeille is taking place over 2 days this weekend. This event offers 5 distances, including an Ultra Merit race distance of 63 kilometers, which looks pretty stout to say the least. New for this year, they're offering a relay option for the 53 km distance, which is pretty cool in the first relay that we've seen. I'm not totally sure the mechanics of that because the site was in French, but if someone can translate it, let us know. It'd be awesome. My favorite distance, though, was the 4-kilometer kids swim run, which is happening on Saturday. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Awesome.
So anyway, that's it for this week. Feel free to reach out and let us know if there's anything that you'd like for us to mention on the show.
Yes, on to updates. So, like we mentioned a little bit earlier, folks racing the Ödyssey Swimrun Casco Bay in July. We're hosting our 2nd annual post-race party at a brewery in downtown Portland somewhere. We'll share more details as we figure them out. But we hope to see you there, of course. Last year we had, let's just call it 30-some-odd folks. Got to share some beers, share race stories, stickers, hugs, high fives, knuckles, whatever you need.
That's great.
It's there. On other news from our partners, our friends at Precision Fuel and Hydration have released their new 30-gram caffeine gel. So their normal P30 gel that you love and admire, if you're anything like Chris and I, they have a caffeine version. Spoiler, delish. It's delicious. Best of all, it doesn't taste like science. They were kind enough to send us a few of these things to try out before. And I've had some of the other caffeine gels out there, and there's a little, I was trying to describe it to Chris. It's like they crushed up like an asprin pill and put it in there. It's like, it's that
like a
tasty.
chemical.
It's a
like
weird chemical
like
taste.
I said, it just tastes like science to me. It just doesn't taste.
But these gel 30s are delish. Same flavor and texture that you know and love. So check that out. And if you want to hook up, use the code LOWTIDE22 at checkout, and you'll save 15% off your first order. So they have all sorts of new products that rolled out this year, and we have many conversations with Precision Fuel and Hydration folks, including founder Andy Blow is on a few times. We have Abby Coleman. Lots of great stuff there. So be sure, if you're looking for any direction, education, or guidance about how to fuel and hydrate for your swim runs, we got the resources for you.
Yeah.
And
or they do. We can just link you
yeah,
to
we're
them.
just the middlemen in this whole situation. But we give you a discount code at least. So Low Tide 22, you save 15% off. Now, kick it on down to SoCal for Team Cali-Coed.
Yeah, it was really great to finally sit down with Liza and Mike for a proper chat. We joke around a lot about folks needing to pass a vibe check when it comes to swim run.
Yeah.
And in our opinion, Team Cali-Coed, they just exude cool swim run vibes.
Mm-hmm.
This conversation, we talked about their swim run journey. We gushed over Tower 26 and Jerry Rodriguez's training methodologies. And of course, why swim run is the greatest. Liza and Mike really embody everything that is great about swim run. And we know that you will love this conversation as much as we did.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we know we're going to see Cali-Coed at every other swim run this year.
Yeah.
I think we convinced him to sign up for Swimrun NC.
Yeah, I think we got close
during the show.
We got close.
There's a bonus conversion for us there. But without any further ado, again, headed down to SoCal, Team Cali-Coed. Enjoy.
All right, so we're very happy to be sitting down with Mike Schiepke and Lisa Dunham of Team Cali-Coed from Southern California. Welcome to the show, Mike and Liza.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Really appreciate the invite.
Yeah, well, this is a conversation. I feel like, especially during COVID, there were very few swim runs, and whatever swim run we were at, you guys were at. We're like, hey, these guys are showing up to everything. They're super stoked on swim run. We should have them on the show. And I have this like running list of guests that I want to have on that I check with Chipper. And it was just like, fine. I was like, let's just do it. Let's make it happen. So here we are. So I guess the first question we usually ask is kind of how did you find swim run? But I think first let's start. How did you guys find each other and decide to take on these adventures together?
Okay. So feel free to interrupt at any point here. So, a shameless plug for Tower 26, the swim program.
Yep.
We spent a lot of time together swimming in that program, and we know a lot of the same people with LA Tri and just local bike rides. So we were, we'd pass each other a lot, see each other a lot, and one thing leads to another, and one conversation leads to another, and that's kind of scratching the surface. How,
So who asked whom to do a swim run?
I think Mike had already done or was super interested in it, and you were. I don't even remember how the conversation went, but in 2017, a group of us, he conjured up a group of us to go to San Diego to Mission Bay where they were having like a baby swim run.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
California Swim Run. Andy Hewitt joint.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I don't know what exactly we were thinking, or you had it on your radar for a while.
I had gone there in 2017 with a former teammate because we had signed up for Casco Bay in 2017. So it was kind of like, okay, let's go down there, get a taste of what we're in for. And it was great. And so, I told these guys about it, and Liza and a couple other friends of ours, let's go down and do it. And so we all banded together. We went down there in 2017 also to do the short course, just kind of put into everybody's heads what it's about and see if they would bite. And Liza was all in. She was like excited about it.
I was all in for two reasons. One of them, because the first picture I took at the Mission Bay Swim Run was this huge bucket of ice full of beer. And the race had not even started. It was like at registration. So I was like, this is going to be fun.
Like they have their priorities in order. So this is already off to a great start.
So we basically did the same thing in 2018. We were doing Casco, so we signed up for California Swim Run. Did in 2017 did it also start at like 2:38 in the afternoon kind of thing?
No, well, actually, the one you guys did was at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
it was at like 4:30 something.
Really weird
It was
time.
very odd. I've never had lunch before a race before.
The ones we did, it was just that and nothing else. It wasn't part of an all-day event.
Oh, okay.
It was just early in the morning, and then you're out,
Yeah.
later in the morning.
I think my comment was that I was like, you would never see this at a triathlon. A huge, thing of beer, like before it ever started. So I was like, this is going to be awesome. And then, we had done, I was coming off of some ultra runs and mountain bike racing and stuff like that. And I found myself in need of a hip replacement. And so this the little baby swim run was giving me my last blowout before surgery. And I was like, you know what? I may never run again. So this is it. And I'm glad it's a good one. It's going to be super fun. And literally the whole time I was like, oh, this is so fun. I'd love to do it again, but it may never happen. So that was 2017. And then Mike went off and did a bunch.
So I went back to Casco in 2018 with another different partner. And then in 2019, Liza bounced back like a rock star from her hip surgery. And so she was, doing stuff. So, and she was running and riding and expressed interest in swim runs. So we talked about it, and with a little nudging and a little more nudging and a little more nudging, we got a commitment. And so we signed up and started training for the 2019 Casco swim run. And as we approached it, though, because some injuries got in the way, we, dropped down to the solo short course, each of us. So that's kind of what happened there.
So you guys did it solo, but hung out together kind of thing?
Yeah. And there were other people that we were training with that went there, and they participated too. So there was four of us.
Yeah, I mean, we've been on, just like you guys, always trying to get people to go. It'll be like summer camp, who wouldn't want to go to Portland in the summer? There's boats and there's islands and there's beer and stuff like that. And so I think it was more about I think I got injured, but I was like, no, it's summer camp. I have to go. I don't want to be left out. So with the solo short course, I could walk the whole thing and still actually get to the finish line. I didn't want to hold anyone back, but you actually looked for teammates, and you had a couple lined up, but they kept falling apart.
Nothing panned out. So I just figured, I'll just go solo short, because a couple weeks following that, my first swim run partner and I signed up for a swim run in Norway. The one, it's called Swim to the End of the World. Not the rock, that's a different one. And it was a longer event than the Casco. So it was like a 50K run and 9K of swimming.
Stout.
But so the plan was to use Casco as a stepping stone, go into that one. And then so then 2020 comes along. It's canceled because of COVID. So we ended up signing up for Catalina, Liza and I. Mm-hmm, so we're still bound and determined to do one of these.
Yeah.
And
in your backyard too, more or less.
More or less, yeah. So that's, I think, the first time we met you guys was at the first Catalina.
Yeah, first and only.
We had our Catalina Fun Adventure Time camp that you two were present at as well, and that was a great time. That was in March, or when the race was supposed to take place this year.
Right.
But how amazing was the Catalina course the one in 2020?
It was a killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, yeah.
We were fortunate enough to have, because proximity-wise, we went over there a couple times to train and just kind of check things out. And, Liza knows the island really well because she's got some family history there. And we had a good preview on what we were getting into. So.
Yeah, and you guys, did you think you had a good day out there?
On race day?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, so when I say it, for me, I call this thing swim shuffle, because there's not, like, my run isn't ever going to be competitive anymore or whatever. I can kind of get it done. So this is how, when we look at a race, we first look at the cutoffs.
Yeah.
And our whole goal is to be, I think, 5 or 10 minutes ahead of each cutoff. And that's how it goes. And so I think for Catalina, obviously there were some, long, we had the big 10K in the middle where you're climbing and all this other stuff. And we were like, well, if we can make this one cutoff, then, our next goal is the next cutoff. That was our whole thing. And we finished the race, and this was our first actual race together. Yeah. So
race.
Yeah. So did we have a good day? We had a good day, but it was hard and it was cold. And we had, I remember a friend of ours, Megan Melgar, gave us,
we know Megan.
Yeah. She was up there. She was up there at the aid station at the top of the climb. She gave me surgical gloves that I wore on most of the runs and stuff. But it is tough. But the water is just so amazing and so clear, and there's really nothing like it. And we were surprised that a few of the teams didn't make it in DNF, but as long as we were ahead of that last cutoff, we knew we would be fine. I don't even know what place we came in. It was probably
make the cutoffs and finish.
Yeah, so. That's our two big goals are cutoffs and finish. And so we know going into these, and this is why we don't know a lot of people, because by the time we get to the finish line, a lot of people have already left on the ferry. But there's usually a couple of burgers left and some beer. So we always have a good time. And then we do our best to influence others to come with us. But it's kind of sometimes a hard sell. But we actually, I think, have two new people in the area that are doing it, doing some of the races. So that's cool.
So to keep the sort of shameless pitching for Tower 26, so we're both super fans of, and I think I won't speak for Chipper on this.
Is Jerry going to send us a swim cap?
But I think Jerry is a genius. I think for when it comes to swimming, when he talks, every single time he talks, I'm like, wow, this guy is amazing. How do you think being part of Tower 26 prepared you definitely for those swims? But do you just think his program just had you were you concerned about the swims, or you're like, hey, we're doing the Tower 26 program, it's going to be fine?
I think, swimming was a no-brainer. His program, and he didn't know this at the time because Swimrun wasn't around when he first started it. But I mean, all the elements for Swimrun are built into his program. In the pool workouts, you do intervals, fast and slow. You do sighting. You go to the beach workouts and you get used to swimming in the surf and the currents and the cold water.
And in the pool, he does a lot of deck ups and things like that, where you'll do 100 or something, deck up, run around the bleachers, dive back in. So it's like you're getting out of the water and having to get upright and things like that. So, I mean, and just having the consistency, I think, is also there. Because it's just, he has so many workouts and now a lot more coaches. And then the ocean is always really consistent. And he has some coaches that work for him that are really good about getting people through the surf and things like that. So, I mean, I think the hardest part, though, in Swimrun is the temperature of the water. We just get so cold.
We're not particularly cold water lovers. And so, when it gets down to below 60, it takes a while to kind of get our bones used to.
Yeah, I hear you on that. I'm also, we're intimately familiar with the diabolical nature of deck up post 100s, but diabolical, yes. Extremely helpful in preparing you. Yes.
Also, yes.
So we bite the bullet on it every time. As we bang our shins as we're trying to get out on the 10th deck up off after that 100 or whatever. But
it makes you a hardy swimmer.
It really does.
Yeah, and the next morning, sure enough, you're like, oh man, I'm even worse off than I normally am. Yeah. But the cold water, I mean...
So I guess to answer your question...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, the Tower 26 swimming is really helpful. It's helped a ton.
I think I love how Jerry puts open water swimming kind of at the forefront. Even in the pool, he's always thinking about it, and there's always some sort of either drill or warm-up or a little technique thing that reinforces the technique that you're using in the open water. And just having that become basically second nature for you has you even more so prepared for any open water situation. And obviously, Chris and I are so jealous that you two go to the actual Tower 26, the ocean.
I want to go
open water one. That I'm super
need to
jealous.
Find a way to be in LA like on a Wednesday or Tuesday, whenever they're.
Absolutely. If you're ever down passing through Wednesday mornings, just hit us up.
Yep. We've had 3 sessions so far. So this next week will be number 4.
Nice. That's awesome.
I would, we're not trying to give away all Jerry's secrets here, but what does the open water practice kind of entail during Wednesday mornings?
Well, they have buoys out in the water.
Okay.
And it's a coached workout. So it's like a master's workout in the open water. So, we'll do like a warm-up loop usually, and then we'll come out of the water and huddle up, and then he'll have us do like maybe a box circuit once or twice as a warm-up also. And then that starts to break up people into groups based on their speed and their pace.
Okay.
And then we'll do another box where we're going out to the first buoy at race pace. Then we go from buoy 1 to 2 at moderate, and then you put it to the floor coming in. And then maybe we'll do a recovery circuit, and then
there's a lot of also drafting drills, like learning how to draft off of people and like
swimming in a pack and stuff.
Yeah, swimming in a pack and purposeful drills. But even just race pace, like into the surf, out to the first buoy. And the buoys are like 150 or 200 yards from the shore, depending upon the tide. Even that alone, like it'll gas you, just to get to the first buoy. And then, and everyone's like going full on all the time. It's exhausting. Like you will eat double breakfast and sleep very well that night. So,
it's not uncommon to sometimes come out with a black eye or maybe an occasional hit to the head, but it's not intentional. It's just what happens when people.
Yeah, I mean, that's Jerry's thing. I mean, he's trying to prepare triathletes for the demands of a triathlon, and
that's definitely part of
triathlons are in open water.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this I love the approach and the workout that you kind of described a little bit. And I think sometimes people get in. I know when we first did open water swimming, even thinking back to our triathlon days, we're like, oh, we got a race next weekend. We got to put the wetsuit on. We got to get an aquatic park. And it's like, let's do an open water swim. What do you want to do? Oh, let's just like swim around for 30 minutes. And then that was our swim. And it's like, there's no real purpose for it. So is that probably would have been more valuable to have a harder workout in the pool again rather than that open water one, but having some specific pace adjustments and things like that is really great. Now, the real question is, have you guys rolled out there with full swimrun kit with your paddles and buoy and everything and showed everyone what's going on?
People kind of look at us. And
I love it.
I asked me if I was spearfishing. No, I'm not, but,
It's like, do you see the spear? That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I think last thing we'll say on Jerry, and I think we've definitely seen it in our training, is like focusing on technique and tautness and alignment and all that stuff has made the biggest difference for us since basically right after Catalina. I was fully committed. I was like, this is great. I want to get faster. That was a weakness, and just started working on it. And then, once we had Jerry on the show, he published his book. Signed up for, I think, like 4 months or something.
Yeah, we did a good block of it.
Had a huge progression from his swim program. But let's transition off of Jerry and get back onto Swimrun. And I have sort of like the philosophical question for you guys. But like, so, you're both super stoked on it. We've seen you at a bunch of races. We're always happy to see you. You're always happy to see us. So there's some simpatico there, and like, hey, we know this is cool and this is kind of our thing. But can you tell us kind of what is it that you love about swimrun and what keeps you wanting to come back and do more of them?
You can answer first.
Just straightforward question.
I want the team camaraderie. Coming from triathlon, it's one-on-one, just all about you. But I love working in teams at work and in play. And so when this came around, I was just like, as long as you can find the right person, right personality, and it works, it's like the best thing in the world. Because you can rely on someone, you can trust them. So that's what's kind of kept me really motivated in it. And then I like to see, just kind of the general feeling of the group of people that are interested in it is, it just kind of, it's warm and people are willing to help each other. And it's all good. It takes away a certain competitive edge from triathlon that just becomes overwhelming. And this is more inviting. So.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Like I was just thinking when you're describing, you could, I was going to say it definitely feels like the triathlon, but that hard edge is like totally rolled off about, if you rack your bike too close to someone in transition and they like start yelling at you, it's like
out.
that, that's not a thing in swimrun. It's like, can you help me put my suit on and lube my neck up and braid my hair or whatever, like what happened on the Casco or Catalina ferry.
Yeah, I remember Chipper was doing this race one time, and I was like, I volunteered for some reason. I think partly to cheer you on, but also to just like, I don't know, volunteer. And it was like a loop course on the bike, and all these people were yelling at me to tell them what loop they're on. I'm like, I don't know what loop you're on, dude.
Supposed to keep track of everybody.
I'm like, have you gone 26 miles? Like, I don't know what to tell you, dude. It was anyway. We wouldn't even talk about that, but yeah. How about you, Liza? Like, what do you love about swimrun?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the same things. I definitely find it way more satisfying to cross the finish line with a teammate than by myself. And I've done a couple of Ironmans where I crossed the finish line and I was like, okay, wait. I expected to like feel elation and find whatever. And I'd like never had that feeling of accomplishment. I was like, I just trained for 9 months for that. Like, I just never felt that sense of satisfaction. But racing with a teammate, it's just way more fun. And it's a shared experience. So that part is awesome. The second part is just the places you get to go. I mean, think about Casco Bay and Orcas Island, all these places. Like, I would never go to those places and swim from island to island. I would never do these courses like on my own on vacation. So being able to go to these amazing places and really experience them, someone, puts them together and we get to do it. It's way more like adventurous to me than doing a triathlon. And then the third thing is you don't have to travel with your bike. It's way easier. Yeah. I mean, the buoy is a little bit of an issue, but it fits in a backpack really nicely. Mm-hmm. So there's that part. And then I also like that there's a little bit of like navigation. I had done some adventure races beforehand as well. Oh, nice. There's a little bit more like, you should know the course ahead of time. There's tides and just other environmental features and factors that you kind of have to think about, right? Not as of a controlled experience. So I find it more interesting and it holds my attention more than doing like an Ironman.
I love that. It's very much like, I mean, we always say it, head on a swivel, heads up racing, because if you're not paying attention, who knows where you're going?
Look what happened at Orcas last year.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great example.
Oh, yeah.
The second run, or what was it?
Yeah, the second one.
We ran that course the previous day, and we were going up the hill, we crossed the road, took a quick right, and off we went. But on race day, we took a hard left and kept going. And I remember saying,
They must
Maybe
have
they made a
changed.
last minute change.
Yeah.
Somebody did.
It's
Well, it was
somebody
a
did.
lone vigilante who,
Saboteur
No.
did.
yeah, a lone saboteur. I think it's.
Yeah.
But they've been in communications. What I heard, the intel is like there was a sit down.
And there's a plan to avoid future saboteurs.
Yeah.
It's so funny. A couple weeks ago, I was visiting friends in Las Vegas, and I was swimming in their like community pool, and I had my swim run cap on, and the guy in the lane next to me is like, "Oh, do you do swim run?" I was like, "Yeah, I do." And he goes, "Which one did you do?" And I said, "Orcas." He goes, "Oh my God, we were there too. Were you in that pack of people that got off course?" I mean, what a small world! Like, that's just like such a small. I mean, there's so few people that do swim run, and I ended up in the lane next to like. It was like Team Las Vegas or the Vegas Watermen or something like that.
Oh.
And we were all in that same Orcas pack
That's hilarious.
That's
so
great.
funny.
That's great. I mean, talk about sort of the community of swim run. I think, Mike, you were kind of alluding to it. It's like it's like positive vibrations. I was just at this reggae festival a couple weeks ago in Monterey, and it was just like, just positive, just positive all the time. And it's like the music positive, everyone's positive, just makes for a great environment. Now, the sport obviously is super niche, I think it's safe to say, and very small in the U.S. We're trying to help it grow, or you guys are trying to help it grow, trying to get people onto the sport. What do you think we need to kind of keep doing in order to highlight the sport for the awesomeness and funness that it is, but not really change the community feel?
Well, I think you guys are doing a lot just with your podcast. It's like grown. It seems like it's grown leaps and bounds, and it's really, through your spreading of the word and drawing people in, it's just spread more and more and more. And I think that's infectious because, we certainly try and talk about it to as many people as we can, and we get. And like Liza said earlier, it's hard to get people to jump in, and but
there's so few races as well.
Yeah,
that's part of it. Like even for us, like we were trying to figure out what we can do this year. Like in the U.S., like there's a ton of races if you live in Europe. There's like
there's like 3 races this past
every
weekend.
Country, you could just go mad. But there in the U.S. there just aren't that many. But like I did for like LA Tri Club, and we did with Michael from Otillo and Katie Godek, did like an introduction presentation for swim run. We brought all the gear, and we were, we had like 8 people, but of the 8 people, 2 people are actually going to race. So
it's a good conversion rate.
It's like not bad,
I know, sorry, I can't help it.
When we've been out on training weekends or training runs, we usually go down to the marina and swim there. We've seen people just when we're running stop and say, "Oh, are you guys training for a swim run?" Like Allison,
yeah.
And so she's hooked. She's already done a swim trek to Croatia. She was going to go to Catalina and do solo. And so she's interested in going to the Hanging Rock in North Carolina later this year.
We'll see her there.
Which are you guys going?
Yeah. Well, it's the last year that they're doing it, so it's kind of
then that's a must.
Oh yeah,
you better get in
on our list.
Get on the horn with Herbert.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, have you guys done that one already?
No.
We were looking ahead.
Yeah.
And
What races are you guys doing this year?
I'm sorry?
What races are you guys doing this year?
Well, we were going to do Catalina, but it was canceled.
Same.
Yeah.
And Casco was, Liza will be out of town. She's going to be with family. So I'm going to go still with a stand-in partner.
Ooh.
So it's my favorite race. I just love that one.
And Liza, you're cool with Mike partnering with other people and like tethering with other people and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's awesome. Of course, I have a little bit of FOMO, but I've done Casco, and also, like, to be honest with you, I mean, I tell Mike all the time, like, I'm shocked that he even wants to partner up with me because of my lack of, like, my shuffle is not fast. Mm-hmm. And, I'm going to be there at every training and I'll keep going the distance, but it's definitely not fast. So he's actually a really fast runner and a fast swimmer, and he if he teamed up with someone else, they could really do.
When you said that, Chipper, myself, and Mike were all rolling our eyes.
All rolled our eyes at the same time.
So, if I could speak for Mike, he doesn't see it that way at all. I think he would say, and Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, your goals are aligned. You're there to have fun and have an adventure with someone that you care about, and that's what makes it a positive experience.
Yeah. Also we have, I think part of our team that isn't represented is that we have the best Sherpa and volunteer as part of Cali-Coed, which is his wife, Christine. I know you guys probably know her. Everyone at Orcas, almost every racer at Orcas knew who Christine was by the end of the race.
Well, she was the one responsible for handing out the sweatshirts at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that was a tough job at Orcas.
Yeah, but she was doing all kinds of registration stuff, and then she's volunteered, I think, at Casco.
She sinks herself into that, so it's good because it keeps her busy, occupied, and helps her feel part of the process. So.
Yeah, definitely.
And Orcas had a nice little kind of, the first few legs were all in that general vicinity on the Rosario Resort, right? Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that was a really cool kind of spectator area for people to hang out and get a lot of the action. And similar kind of vibe to the smaller local swim runs, to take it a little bit way back about what can we kind of do to help the sport grow a little bit. I do think these local kind of mom and pop type swim runs, if and when they do pop up, we're doing one in Folsom, California, up here in Northern California. Yeah. So that's actually the week after Casco Bay. It's a short little thing, it probably, I don't even know how long.
I think it's like the long course is 7 miles total.
Yeah. So, like it's a super approachable distance.
We might do a couple loops of it.
Yeah, maybe we'll do 2 loops or something. But, I think things like that, to get people that are curious about it, it's not as easy to put a swim run on as like, oh, we can do a little 10K trail run. Like, that's very easy and people understand that. But the more even at a small scale, the more kind of local small swim runs around, or even just practice sessions like you had at your tri club. We had a few things lined up as well with a few of the San Francisco tri clubs up here, but COVID. You know how that goes. But those are good areas that it feels like to get in, and kind of the local bit of it feels key to me.
I thought for sure that the San Diego, Mission Bay, that whole crew would continue to put on events.
Yeah.
So that was a hard one,
That was definitely a good introduction for people.
Yeah, for sure. And that was our first swim run. Same thing, like we said before, same thing you guys did. It's like, it was in March and Casco was in October or September or something. So we just flew down for the day, and Chipper made me eat vegan food. And we did a race and flew back home. It was super fun. It was super fun. Yeah, I think definitely need to have more sort of grassroots events to have people sort of kind of dip their toe in it, for lack of a better expression.
And I specifically remember at that California swim run, and we've talked to many teams and many people who do swim run, and we get the same answer almost every time. But during the race, at some point, we were just like, this is so cool. Like, this is so much fun. And we hadn't even finished the race. We had done a couple legs, and we're like, oh, how do we not know about it? It was like, this is the coolest thing ever. We should keep doing more. And that's why we sort of joke about it. Like, our job is just to get people to sign up and just start your first race, because our job's done after that. Like, it sells itself, sort of thing. Yeah. But yeah, that's similar thing. We'll email Andy, see maybe if he can.
Yeah,
he's not busy.
I think we should definitely have more races in California for sure. This is sort of one of the hotbeds of triathletes. It's like a perfect, ground zero for people that are swimming and running all the time, at least in the U.S.
Yeah, at Catalina though, we had a lot of new people. Mm-hmm. Didn't we? Like, there were a lot of new and they were coming from all over.
Well, we had friends of ours, Mark and Kathleen. It was their first swim run.
But at Catalina, our little camp.
Oh,
Oh, it's a can.
yeah.
Yeah.
There were
Chris,
so many people. Yeah.
Chris,
That was
you
true.
You were in LA doing the marathon.
I know.
Just across the
Major
pond.
FOMO.
Yeah, there were a bunch
It was
of
like,
movies.
like Lindsay from Virginia, and then the twins.
Yep, from up
Fatima.
here.
Coast Guard
The
twins.
Coast Guard twins, and they've all been doing races.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fatima just went up to Bellingham to do that race, which is pretty awesome of her. She's definitely
She's
drank
got the
Kool-Aid.
bug for
Yeah.
sure.
She's drank the Kool-Aid. Now,
Wilson was there.
Yeah.
I know we're talking about needing more races in the U.S., but there's plenty in Europe. Is there any race on your list that you're like,
In Europe?
yeah.
Oh, boy. There's probably a dozen. I mean,
Like, how do you
I
pick?
can't think of one.
Hear that?
Your favorite child? Go.
I would love to go back and do the one in Norway, but because we unfortunately did not finish that one.
That's a good story. You should
We
tell
got
that
about halfway
story.
through, and you guys are training for Uto, right?
Sort of.
The world championship.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
And so,
We'll be on
Uto's in
Uto
there.
at some point. At the
how
end,
do you guys
probably.
feel about jellyfish?
I have a.
No real experience, but I do
Okay.
know if you get stung by one, then Chris has to pee on me.
That's.
trying to
I
come
don't
to
think
terms
that's
with that.
jellyfish.
That's
in
not jellyfish.
Norway,
I mean,
there were jellyfish in the water. We had no idea, no clue about it at all. And everybody told us, "Oh yeah, they're not life threatening, but they will sting." And so they're called. Those particular ones were the lion mane jellyfish. And I'm not certain, but check your sources to see if they're in the waters in Sweden.
yeah, we'll
So-
check. I know there are jellyfish.
What's the
We've heard that
headlines
from a
about it,
couple
though?
folks.
Stay covered up. Keep your arms covered up. Keep your legs covered up. Like you wear, I don't know if you wear arm sleeves or not, but I did. My partner didn't, and he was leading most of the swim, so he got hit all morning, and it got to be too much for his body to handle, and so he was suffering big time. So we had to make a call. Unfortunately,
Noted.
he was okay, but I mean, repeatedly, swim after swim after swim, you get hit with the jellyfish, and it takes its toll. But
I can imagine.
nobody tells us, oh, they're not life threatening, but it'll hurt. So in my mind, all I could think about is I'm just going to get one right in the face.
Oh my god.
And it's like you don't really see them until you're right on top of them, and you can't get flat enough in the water.
Right.
Ooh.
You try, at the
And there's
last
never
minute.
just one.
Oh no, they're all over the place.
Do they travel in goggles?
I don't know if that's the technical.
travel.
Technical. We'll have to look
school?
that up.
Is it a school of jellyfish?
But
Maybe.
check into
Go
that
with
just
that.
just
Cool.
to be sure.
Yeah, we will. We will.
Anyway, sorry.
Good to know.
No, I mean, hey,
Jellyfish.
that's a pro tip right there. Yeah, I mean, there's so many races in Europe. Like, we would love to do like sort of a south of France kind of thing, some Spain stuff, Portugal. The races that Bruno's putting on at Swim Report, they all look just amazing.
I mean, every race looks pretty spectacular. That Swimrun man in France.
Yeah, Lafferty.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a
There's
lot.
one that made my ears go up. It was in Georgian Bay by is it Brecca Swimrun?
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was Swimrun Canada, and it was in Georgian Bay, but it hasn't been put back on the calendar since
No,
COVID.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Brecca
Brecca
is-
had to cancel everything for this year.
Ah.
So that hopefully they're able to kind of rebound. But yeah, I think they had a COVID didn't treat them very, very kindly.
Yeah, I think the only race that survived is Jersey.
Yeah.
In the UK somewhere, because that one, someone else is just like, oh, that race is too cool not to do, so someone else took it over.
Yeah.
You've been to Georgian Bay,
Yeah, the water is cold. Whew. It's
Up in
cold.
Canada.
It's cold. Yeah.
Well, swimrun is cold business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It can be.
Mike's not interested.
He's like,
No, I would go. We would just get out, into the ocean, in the depths of winter and just get used to it, which is what we did for Catalina. We'd go out and, in the mornings and just frigid cold just to get used to it. And, it does have its purpose.
Oh, for sure. You can definitely acclimate to at least like that initial feeling of, I mean, when we really started training hard, we would joke that whenever we did our swim practice, it would take us like, 5-10 minutes to get ready, and it would take Chipper like 12 minutes to kind of get the courage to get in the water. Because it was just that first time, man.
It's tough. But then I'm trying to soften this on myself. I just internally was like, just charge in. So then every start, just boom, hit it full gas going in. It's cold either way. Take my time or charge in. Just get on with it. And it's cold business. So, and that's the business we're in right now.
I think that's why I took the term dog in and made it puppy, because it would take me a while to get used to it. But,
yeah. Well, luckily, there's more and more sort of thermal undershirts and different keep you more warm type gear coming out from the swimrun equipment companies. So they've recognized this issue as well. So
it's a known problem.
It's a known problem, especially after the Uto race was
frigid.
I think they were saying 7 degrees.
Yeah, water was like 50, 49, 50.
That's like 48 or 49 degrees.
Yeah, it's stings.
Yeah, that's
it's like ice cream headache cold.
That's tough.
Oof.
Yeah,
that is tough.
Hopefully, that we'll never have to experience that.
Fingers crossed, guys.
Yeah. How are you guys feeling about your training? Like, how's it going?
Yeah, I mean, it's we're in it.
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, we're definitely in it. So we're less than 3 months away from Attila, the Swimrun World Championship, and it's just ramping. Big days, big weeks. We got we're getting back in doing a swim run next week, a big 3+ hour one. So excited about that.
Sprinkling in some looking sort of longer runs before or after our swims and things like that. So I think we're both feeling good about it. I mean, our mantra kind of going in is like, hey, let's prepare for this thing like our life depends on it, so that when we're there, we can just have as much fun as possible and not have it be kind of like you guys, like when I asked, how are the swims? Tower 26 had you prepared for the swims. We want to be prepared for the race and show up at the start line like we deserve to be there, ostensibly.
Yeah.
And then just enjoy it. I mean, we've said this on the show before. It's like we think about swimrun all the time. We're talking about it all the time. Like, this is the original race, right? This is like, and if you think about it, this is like doing Kona, like in the early 80s, right? Like the sport has been around just for a little bit. This is the OG race. We get to do the same course where the sport was born. I mean, it's just going to be super fun. I mean, the only thing that's going to make it not fun is someone breaking a foot or a face or something. So that's, again, we're just trying to be super prepared, have our gear lined up, have a best plan possible. So then when we get there, we can just be in Disneyland. And hopefully that's where we are right now. And hopefully we'll get to race day healthy. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be so cool.
Do they have
it's going to be so cool.
There's they have Dole Whip. There's Dole Whip at Disneyland. Is there Dole Whip in Sweden? I don't know.
Probably have some. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so we're super stoked, and I think so far our training's going really well. Like no niggles or no no one's gotten COVID as far as we know.
Yeah, we feel we have proper guidance.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, working with the coach has really helped, and I think that has us kind of like just surrendering to the process. Our coach has done Attila a bunch of times as well, so it's like we kind of know what's I feel like we're getting properly prepared for the journey, which I think it's actually kind of a relief. I mean, the swims are always super hard.
Yeah.
It's like these swims are just like, holy crap, but it's like, it's hard, but it's just another opportunity for just express a little bit of courage and just get in the water and do it. And just, 5,000 yards on a Thursday, 6:30 in the morning.
Why not?
Let's go. So in that respect, it's been a cool journey, to be honest.
Well, it sounds like you guys are just lace up the shoes, step on the court, and go.
Honestly,
that's what we're trying to do.
Honestly, if that race was like next week, I'd be like, let's do it, because there's so much anticipation to do it.
Yeah, at some point it'll be like, could we just get this thing over with?
Yeah.
Could we get started already? I remember specifically that feeling around my first Ironman, or my only Ironman that I did. But it's like a week before, I'm like, could I just start it already and just get on with it? Because it's built up so, like, let's just go. Let's just go.
Right.
So
we've never had a coach or a training plan. I think that would be kind of fun. A fun, like, look at a training plan maybe one time.
A real training plan, what you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
I mean, you'd be surprised that actually it's very similar to like a triathlon training plan, except some of those super long bikes are instead like swimrun practices type of stuff, and instead of bike, they'll have some strength and things like that, and just stuff that's more specific for
a little more
sort of the demands.
Yeah.
And I think with swimrun, because every course is different, our training changes. So last year for Casco, a lot of our stuff was trail runs were on flat stuff, and obviously for Orcas, it was like the
hills.
Yeah,
lots of hills.
Yeah, that's a good call out. So based on what race we have coming up, I think Orcas is a good example. Instead of doing like this time, because the World Champs is relatively and Casco is relatively flat, we have more sort of track and speed sessions around track and half marathon 10K pace. But for Orcas, we were doing more hill repeats where we would have really strong surges up and then do a longer, do like 6 hill repeats, 45 seconds up at whatever, and then like a 10 or 15 minute tempo run off of that, and then do another round of that. So the training is very much specific to the course, which is part of the beauty of swimrun, is that you can't just blanket the training for whatever, because the courses are so wildly different. Similar to Lake James, we had definitely some runs and some swimrun practices that had bigger run chunks in them to kind of simulate that 8+ mile run through some random thing in North Carolina, which is pretty cool too.
Yeah, but, that race is awesome. If you guys haven't done that one, Lake James is super fun. A lot of running though, Liza. So
yeah, I know. That's
make the cutoffs and finish.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, but if you like transitions, lots of transitions, Lake James was great because it was just like swim this little island, like bushwhack over it, get in the water, swim 100 yards, stuff like that. It was super, super fun.
Yeah, I think our training was just, we had the course and we'd be like, okay, today let's do the first third. And so we would do, a 2-mile run and then like a 500-yard swim and then 1.2 mile run and then whatever the next swim was on the course. That was our training.
We would duplicate the course where we could.
Yeah.
Like
it's a pretty safe way to do it. I mean, it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably end up doing that for World Champs, just like split it up over a couple of days or something and just do like the first half and then second half or something. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's anyone out there listening who it's like, hey, you're worried about the sprint, solo Casco course, just try to mimic it in practice. Even if it's only a pool, swim the distance and then run out the back door and,
maybe you'll entice some people to be curious about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, there's so many questions. You get a lot of looks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A local pool, and you pay to go in, and you get a wristband, so you can go in and out all day. So we would just go in, swim, leave, go run, come back, swim again, and just keep going back and forth. But
love it.
Rules have changed now.
Yeah, with COVID, there's none of that.
Yeah.
Shenanigans.
It's true, and you're not supposed to run on the pool deck anyway. At least that's what they told me when I was a kid.
The lifeguards still yell at me.
For sure.
And I have to yell at my kids now. No running.
Yeah. It's a rite of passage.
Yeah, totally.
Well, Mike and Liza, we've had you on for almost an hour. We want to thank you so much for coming on. It's been great to chat with you guys proper. Next time, we hope to do it more extended in person at the next time we find ourselves at the same race, which, I'm sure it'll happen sooner rather than later because you guys are all the races we're at. So
we'll send you our race schedule for 2023 so you can plan ahead.
Yeah, and we'll definitely hit you up if we somehow manage to find ourselves in Santa Monica on a Wednesday morning.
Yeah, thank you so much for everything. But also, kudos to you guys for getting on the World Championship track.
Exciting.
And yeah, we're super stoked for you guys, and can't wait to
hear about the post report.
Yeah. I mean, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, we might be slurring our words if we do that one too soon after the race or something.
Yeah, we'll have to wait till the next morning. But that one we're actually going to have to record in Sweden.
Oh.
Yeah.
In our hotel room.
Make sure you ask
with some
coach
fika.
about the jellyfish.
Yeah.
We'll ask. We'll have a question in there for that jellyfish.
We definitely will.
For sure.
He'll probably say, "Oh, they're not life-threatening. They just sting. It's okay.
It hurts, but you won't die."
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. But yeah, thanks a lot for having us on, and it's a great honor. So.
Oh, the honor's ours.
Okay,
honor's ours. Thank you guys so much. We'll talk soon.
Appreciate it.
All right,
See you guys.
Happy
Thank
training.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, that's it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for listening to the show. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a review, since that's the best way to help other people discover the show and the sport of swim run.
Sign up for our newsletter at lowtideboys.com. That's boys with a Z. And check out our meme page at the Low Tide Boys on Instagram. If you have any suggestions for the show or questions for us, send us a DM or an email at lowtideboys@gmail.com.
We'd like to thank Riding Easy Records for our show music, and of course our wives for their support and tolerance of all our swim run activities, podcast, and other stuff.
Yeah, other stuff.
Way
to keep it PG. Finally, you can support our efforts on Patreon. Until next time, get out there and go for a swim.
Go for a run.
Then another swim.
Then another run.
And then another swim.
And then another run.
And then just keep going. Until you're done.
Or maybe can't
And then
stop.